9 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few running backs I looked at off the wire this week. So to be honest, there's not much going back on at the running back position on the waiver wire. We haven't really seen an injury. We haven't seen the new players emerge putting up numbers. And this is pretty much all handcuffs. Running back Brandin Allen of the New York Jets. Brandin Allen had a decent workload in the tough loss at the Patriots. 12 carries, 32 yards, and he got a goal line stamper for a touchdown in that one. But Allen, since week 5, we haven't seen much of this Jet team. Put the more physical back in there, bigger back at that goal line. And Brandin Allen, like I said, we saw flashes the first 3 weeks of the season, and then the last 3 weeks before this week 8's ball game, we didn't see much out of him. So week 9, it's a game where the Jets know they got to put points on the board. Tough matchup versus the Houston Texans, where they think Brandin Allen, we could see him get more touches in this offense for the New York Jets, where Breece Hall, it seems like it's been one good game, one bad game for the most part over the last month of the season. So right now, while Allen, his workload's been decent on the year, I know inconsistent at times, but if you need a handcuff running back and one of the best in the league, Allen's an ad this week, available in 63% of fantasy leagues. Next running back, Tyler Algier of the Atlanta Falcons. Tyler Algier, we know he's been one of the best backups in all pro football over the last few seasons, and there's some games as well we see him go out there have decent performances as Tyler Algier, available right now as well in 63% of fantasy leagues, and coming off a 12-touch ball game, week 6 at Carolina, 18 carries, 105 yards, a touchdown, a catch, 3 yards, a 2-point conversion. Week 7 versus Seattle, 5 carries, 36 yards, a catch, 9 yards. And week 8 at Tampa, only did 12 carries, like I said, and 33 yards. So, like I said, one of the best backup running backs and handcuffs in the league is Algier. And we know Bijan Robinson's having a great season. So if Bijan went down, obviously Algier next man up, and he fits this offense well. And in his rookie year, he had a 1,000-yard season. It's back Isaac Gendo with the San Francisco 49ers. So once again, Jordan Mason hurt that shoulder in the Week 8 victory versus the Dallas Cowboys. And Gendo came in the second quarter, and he had a nice ball game. 14 carries, 85 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches, 17 yards on 4 targets. I know Week 9 they got the bye. Christian McCaffrey, Week 10, Week 11 is a possibility. He's going to be returning to the lineup. So Gendo right now, it's not that much of a priority, but like I said, Jordan Mason going down with the shoulder. I know they're going on bye week as this 49er team, but we've seen Gendo a couple times now get some expanded work, and he's all good going back to week 6 where Mason left the game early as well with the shoulder, 10 for 99. So Gendo, he was top percentile in speed coming out of college football in the NFL draft this season. It's definitely showed in the expanded touches he's got the couple games this season. So right now, he's available, Gendo, in 92% of fantasy week. Next back, Blake Corum of the Los Angeles Rams. Kyren Williams, he's been one of the best running backs once again this season in fantasy football. But we know Williams a little bit more of a smaller back, and he's had injury concerns, including last season with a high ankle sprain, missing 4 games. And Blake Corum, he was a nice draft pick, 3rd round of the NFL draft this season. He's definitely a good prospect coming out of college at the running back position is Blake Corum. So far this season, obviously, it's been the Kyren Williams show in the backfield. He really hasn't done much, is Blake Corum, but definitely one of the better handcuff running backs in the league, in my opinion. Week 5 versus Green Bay, 5 carries, 25 yards, a catch, 8 yards. Week 7 versus the Vegas Raiders in that one, 3 carries, 11 yards. And Week 8 versus the Minnesota Vikings, 4 carries, 9 yards, a catch, 9 yards. So Corum as a backup, as a handcuff, is a good move for fantasy owners. And right now, he's available in 75% of fantasy league. Next running back I looked at, it's Vidal of the Los Angeles Chargers. Vidal, over the last few weeks, he's been on the list as a pickup off the waiver wire. But obviously, the numbers really haven't been there as well for Vidal. Week 6 at Denver, 4 carries, 11 yards, 2 catches, 40 yards, a touchdown. Week 7 at Arizona, 3 carries, 10 yards, a catch, 9 yards. And Week 8 versus the Saints, 6 carries, 16 yards. Another running back who's a handcuff, J.K. Dobbins. We know the injuries have been a concern throughout his career over the last couple of years. Torn ACL, torn Achilles. And Vidal is a handcuff and someone who could step right in to a big workload. Dobbins went down with injury. He could be a nice pickup for fantasy owners because Gus Edwards, he's on injured reserve. And at this point, I think Vidal might have more juice, obviously, than an older Gus Edwards. See, he's an ad this week as a nice backup. Final running back I looked at off the wire this week's Emanuel Wilson of the Green Bay Packers. Emanuel Wilson, early in the season, It seemed like he got a little more touches for this Green Bay Packer team, but now Josh Jacobs taking on a big workload. And also, though, we saw Jacobs limp off in that ball game a little bit for the Green Bay Packers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Emanuel Wilson, like I said, one of the better handcuffs in the league out there right now with 93% of fantasy leagues. In the last few games, it's been quiet for the most part. Week 6 versus Arizona, 7 carries, 54 yards, a catch, 19 yards. Week 7 versus Houston, 5 carries, 11 yards. In Week 8 at Jacksonville, 4 carries, 5 yards, 2 catches, -2 yards. So Emanuel Wilson is a handcuff running back, and we'll keep an eye on Jacobs. If anything came out of him limping off the field, I would give Wilson an ad this week. So that's a few running backs I would look to head off the waiver wire for Week 9 of the fantasy football season.